foam rolling is what I call my pre warm-up.
Hey, welcome to the Gymming at Home with Fitness Adaptations channel. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and share this video. Check out the schedule so you never miss a workout.
What's up, team? Welcome to another episode of Fitness Education with Fitness Adaptations. Today's topic is how to increase range of motion on the shoulders, the knees, the ankles, elbows. So we're gonna go through all that. Make sure you join me on the live workouts, because on my live workouts, I go through all of these warm-ups and I show you how to warm up and get into what I call the pre-warm-up. As you can see, we're in my home gym where I perform all my live workouts. If you're serious about increasing range of motion, which is today's topic, how to increase range of motion in specific joints, and how I go about it. So I'm going to give you some tips. I have a full in-depth article which you can find in the description below if you're watching this video on YouTube. If you're watching it on my website, then you're going to see all the notes and extra additional information that I have on this topic. Now, when it comes to range of motion, I want to emphasize how important that is, because there's a lot of things that I explain in the article that you can't really see your picture, or maybe you may, but some people may not. And the idea behind range of motion is that you want to create what's called stacking when you're lifting really heavy weights. So if you're a performance athlete, range of motion comes in handy, because when you have, like, for example, an overhead carry, your arm, let's say, for example, I'm doing an overhead carry in this position right here. If my arm is straight and locked, then my wrist is gonna stack on top of my elbow. My elbow is gonna stack on top of my shoulders, and I can hold, probably 200 pounds in this position. If you just place a 200, 300 pound weight, and I'm just here and I'm stacked, I can hold that weight, because the straight line prevents any energy from going out of its way, and my arm won't collapse. But if I have any little break, let's say on my elbow, it just slightly bends, that weight's gonna come crushing down, because it's just gonna fall apart. So range of motion is the base of strength for holding weights, and usually when we talk about stabilization, when we talk about being able to hold large amounts of weight overhead, you're talking about a straight line. And it goes with anything. If you have a straw and you press from the top, it's going to be a little bit harder. But once that straw breaks at any point, boom, you can crush it. And that's why, we want vertical bases. Everything has to be as vertical as possible. And if you have any sway forward, any sway backwards, you lose a ton of ability to hold and execute specific exercises, more in terms of holding things overhead. And so let me give you another example. So if you're holding a weight, let's go with this arm right here. If this weight, right, is forward right here, and I try to hold the weight overhead with my arm slightly at a forward angle, there's just no way I'm going to hold that weight. But if I can straight that arm out and hold it on top of my head in a straight line, you're going to be able to hold a lot more weight. You're going to have a lot more strength, and it's all about center of gravity. You want to have you want to be as efficient as possible with center of gravity. So most people have a hard time, especially in the shoulders. Let's talk about the shoulders first. Most people have a very hard time having this straight motion, right? People have a hard time staying here. They're usually here. This is about as far as they can go, and a lot of times it leads to a lot of shoulder injuries, and that comes from a lack of being able to contract and use the shoulder blades. You also see a lot of people in the gym, they walk around like this, the shoulders up, traps high, and they walk around with really huge traps. Just their traps are overactive because their movement is incorrect. They don't know how to move. They don't know how to retract down and up. They only go up. If you tell them shrug down, they can't. They have no idea when you should be able to shrug down. When it comes to your shoulder blades, right? So part of my workouts is always to warm up the shoulder blades, and I tell people to open the arms wide and then retract the shoulder blades. Open them up, retract. You should be able to do this with your arms straight. What's going to tend to happen is people tend to pull the arms in order to squeeze the shoulder blades. You should be able to keep your arms straight, locked, and just retract those shoulder blades. You should also be able to bring them up and down and in different angles. A lot of times the reason you can't do it is because your muscles are stuck. You have overactive muscles. You have maybe your chest, and your chest is very strong. Your deltoid is very strong, but your lats and your subscapular are either weak or also tight, and your muscles have to be loose. All of them. They all have to be loose, and they have to be strong where they have to be strong. That's where we have that prime mover to synergist. The synergists help, the prime movers move. They do most of the brunt, the heavy loads. And if you have a weak prime mover and a tight synergist, you're gonna pull something, you're gonna get hurt, and you're also gonna limit your range of motion. So let's start with the shoulders. How do I release the shoulders? So like I was saying, foam rolling is what I call my pre-warm-up. Foam rolling is part of static stretching. So it's a combination of foam roll and static stretching. When you're done with the foam roll and the static stretching, you should move into your pre-warm-up, which will be dynamic stretching, which is stretching. You can do the exact same stretches you did for static, but you're gonna do it in motion. And last but not least, you warm up with like 1 or 2 sets for whatever exercises you have of the day, and then you execute your program, whether it's strength, muscle building, so aka hypertrophy, power, Olympic, whatever it is your performance, you go for it after you do your pre-warm-up, your pre-warm-up and your warm-up. I usually don't do a pre-warm-up, even though I should do more of it if I want to improve my range of motion even more. And so for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would do a pre-warm-up before I do my dynamic stretching using the foam roller. You can get these on Amazon. I have a link in this article or in the description below, so you can get yourself a foam roller through Amazon. So let's go real quick through how I would go about it. The first thing I want to stretch, the first thing I want to foam roll are my lats. So right here, this muscle right here. And the way I do that is I just get on my side like this. I can straight one leg out, and the top leg I stack it like this, and then I can just open up my chest. So I like to retract my shoulder blades, stick on my chest, and then I just start driving in. What you're looking for is you're looking for very painful spots. When you find a knot, what we call them is a knot, when you find that knot, you want to hold that knot, and man, it's gonna hurt like crazy, but the pain goes away because your body starts sending pain receptors to that area. The pain usually goes away, but the muscle also starts loosening up. So right now I can feel like, see, I just found a spot right now, and without doing anything, I mean, it's already there. I know I can feel that knot building up. What you don't want to do is you don't just want to be going here like this, right? And then anytime you find a painful spot, you get out of it, or you find a way to take the tension away, to take the pain away. You don't. You want to continue hammering on that pain. You want to hold that until that pain goes away. So let's say, for example, and again, if this is a black, so it's very dense, very hard. So most of you are not ready for this type. You might want to get a softer foam roller. But let's say, so you're right here. So what I'm going to do is, say you're a beginner and you have a lot of pain. You can just keep your elbow down and control, right, how much pain you take. And you want to have enough pain. You want to like just put up with as much pain as you can until it goes away. So you can have your elbow down, and then just find the spot. So on the lat, just go through from the top of the right here, the armpit, like in this little area here, all the way down to where your lat connects to the side of your body. So this whole thing right here, my lat ends on right here. So I want to stretch, I want to make sure I foam roll all this. So I start little by little. I find a spot, 1, 2, and I hold it there until it goes away. It might be 20 seconds, might be 30 seconds. I just hold it, and then I continue. I go to the next spot, find the painful spot, hold it. Sometimes you want to turn forward a little bit, get a different spot. Let me get the front of the lat. Here you'll get, like, if you turn the other way, you'll get the back of the lat. And that's foam rolling at its essence. It's just finding, moving around the muscle, because your muscle is 3D. It's not just like one flat surface. It's 3D. You have one side, you have the middle, then you have the other side. So you have to get all the sides, and you just start going little by little. So the first thing I want to do is I want to stretch. I want to release my lats. After I do my lat, I want to do my chest. And the way you can do your chest, the way I like to do it. So now I'm gonna straddle this, like I'm gonna kick one leg out, put this one here, and I'm just gonna let my weight come down, and I'm gonna put my weight on the shoulders. The same thing. I'm gonna look for spots. I'm gonna look for just areas of a lot of where I have a lot of tension, and I'm just gonna hold it for a few seconds, all right, until you find those spots. And then you do that. So I like to do my lat. I like to do my chest, and I like to do my back. So the middle of my back. Again, I start from the top. You never want to go in the lower part, lower lumbar. There's too much flex. There's too much range of motion in that area. Not only that, but you have like other organs that you don't want to. It's too superficial. You want to get the big muscles. So you want to go from like the middle of your back and up. Stay away from the lower lumbar area. And what you want to do, and what I like to do, is I like to put my hands, interlock my fingers, open up my arms, and then I start foam rolling. Again, same thing, finding spots. As soon as I find one, ooh, I just hold that. A lot of times what I like to do is I like to put my butt down, and then I just let my body drop, so I can improve also my spine's ability to, like, I want to improve spinal stability, spinal flexion. So I want to be able to just, little by little. Some of you might like just get on here and be like, oh my goodness, that is tight. I am stuck. But little by little, you start opening up your chest down, 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 right, until you can even raise your hips up a little bit, but just try to keep your hips down and improve your spinal stability. So it's learning how to move and just enjoy the stretch. I mean, it feels so good when you get all these spots and you increase your range of motion everywhere. And same thing, you might want to round your back a little bit as well to stick those muscles out a little bit. And boom, I feel a spot right here on my right side. There's a knot. Right there is a big knot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold that until it goes away. And then as you get more advanced, you can also start adding stretches. So let's say, for example, I find a knot right there, and I'm gonna go arm across. I'm gonna stretch out. So I'm gonna pull my arm across as I'm holding the knot. And that is just more efficient. Now you're doing both things. You're doing a static stretch, and you're doing the foam roll. So and that's going to increase my range of motion. It's going to allow me to contract my back better. It's going to separate any muscles that are stuck. They're going to be able to free flow and improve your ability to move your shoulder blades, which is in charge of getting more range of motion. And you're going to notice. So you can even do like a little test where you can just come here, right? Put your arms up like this. Take a picture and see how far you can get. Let's say, for example, you're here. When you do the foam rolling, you might, boom, all of a sudden your arms go back, you're able to squeeze a lot better. Another muscle that's usually very tight are the lats, the traps. So the trap muscles, the way that I like to do it is I just get on my side like it's a pillow, and then I roll until I feel that the foam roller is on my lat. And this is for some of you, this is gonna be so painful. Just laying down like this, for some of you, it's going to be like enough pain. And all you're going to do is just foam roll, just roll a little bit. Always be very careful, just try to get that muscle. This might also relieve some headaches. You might be able to relieve relieve headaches and migraines from really tight traps. And then once you get more advanced, what you can do is with this leg, right? You can just push up, lift your hip up, and then just you're kind of like diving into, you're putting weight into the lat, right? And you can do it right around your neck. And another muscle I like to do is if you have a head, just do a quick tip, just pretend it's a pillow, and just move side to side, and get those that sternal, I think it's called sternocleidomastoid muscles right here, the scalene muscles, and just, you know, all over your neck. So right there, my whole middle back of my head, right? So this area right here is I wanna be able to get that right along my ear, get those little muscles. That's gonna help you also relieve some tension on your head. That also improves range of motion on the shoulders. Next, let's move on to increasing range of motion on the knees. So knees, again, what happens to a lot of people is they do a lot of leg extensions. It's like, you know, when you go to the machine and you do leg extensions, what you're doing is you're creating a lot of tension on your legs. So your legs are getting like very tight. So your quads get really tight. They get way too strong. But since you're not squatting and you don't deadlift and things like that, then you do a lot of leg curls. You go on the leg curl machine, and what happens is like you don't know what that balance is, that ratio for perfect movement. And what happens is you start throwing that off when you start doing isolated movements. It's like you're trying to make the muscle as strong as possible, but you throw off the balance. Because let's say, for example, if you can't deadlift, you're gonna do like all these other machines that they're not gonna give you the maximum benefit and range of motion that you need for your knees. So then what happens is your hamstring starts getting tighter, your glutes get weaker in comparison to your quads. Now you have a tight hamstring, and then you do a sprint and you pull the hamstring. You gotta keep balance. For me, I recommend doing compound movements, man. Stay away from isolation. Unless you have an injury and you know you have a serious weakness in a muscle and you want to strengthen it, that's one thing. You know you have that imbalance. But if you don't have any imbalance, I suggest you stay away from isolated movements. So to release the knee, you want to foam roll the calves, like just the same way that I just showed you, right? Foam roll the calves, foam roll your quads, your IT band, and your glutes. I mean, you want to stretch out this whole entire area. Whatever's going to eventually connect to the knee, you wanna stretch that out. Your tibial muscles are also muscles that you want to stretch out. So what you can do is you can start, for example, your calves. You can just go here, pick yourself up, and again just find spots. You can just scoot over, right, until you find those really tight muscles. You're like, oh man, I feel it right there. Turn them inside, like do external rotation, internal rotation. Let me show you my feet. So my feet turn out to get the side of the calves. They turn in to get the inner part of the calf. I can cross over one leg to get more tension on one, and I can also put it on my ankles, and I can roll my ankles. Like I could do circles, try to create big range of motion, right? And I can do the other way. And start moving your ankles. Ankle mobility is very important because it usually any limiting range of motions in other body parts starts at the ankles. So you want to make sure that you take care of your ankles and create as much mobility as possible. And again, it starts from tightness, right, on the lower tibial muscles and the peroneals. And so you start with the calves, work on your ankles, then you can turn around. And this is one of my favorite stretches right here to increase. So I go here, and I get on top, and I start foam rolling through my tibial muscles, right here, the front part of my shins. And I guarantee you, a lot of you are gonna be screaming in pain when you do this one, when you foam roll this part of your body. And then what I like to do is eventually I let my feet fall like this, and then slowly I sit on my heels slowly, because you're gonna feel the stretch all here. You're gonna feel this stretch until you're able to stand straight. And that right there is going to increase your range of motion because you're going to be able to do more plantar flexion and more dorsiflexion. So again, to release the knee, you want to stretch out the calves, IT band, all these areas. So the quads, right? You come here and you just let yourself hang on top and you find the spots. Ooh, right there. Ooh, that hurts. So I have a knot right there. I'm probably a little bit tight also from Friday's workout. And I can turn and again, the same thing. I can turn my feet inside and outside to get different spots. And then when I do the IT band, basically what I do is I get on one side. Right? I cross over one leg like this, and I can lift that inside leg, and I just foam roll the side of my thighs and my legs, get the glute medius. Again, find the spot. Ooh, that spot is tight, then I'm gonna hold that. If you actually get to be more specific, to release the knee and increase your range of motion and flexibility and things like that, you want to focus on the muscles around the knee, right? Around the knee. Even though sometimes it starts from way up top. Because if you have a problem here, it's going to lead to a problem here. If you have a problem on your ankles, it's going to lead to a knee problem. And then that's going to lead to back problems and other type of problems. And then if you want to stretch out your glutes, right, you sit on the foam roller, cross the leg, and then just right here, foam roll the side of your glute all the way to the top. And you can even like pull this in as much as you can so you can get an extra stretch. And so that's the knee. Work on your ankles. Get the chest and the shoulders. And then same thing for the elbows. So another one. One of the questions is how to like increase range of motion around the elbow. And they say for a purpose, maybe you have epicondylitis. I just finished actually getting rid of my epicondylitis. So I had a lot of pain on the inside part of my elbow. I broke my arm when I was younger, so you can see I have a little bit of deformation. And I guess that kind of changed the biomechanics for my arm, and it eventually made my bicep weak. It made my tricep really tight, and so my tricep got really strong and it got really tight. My bicep got a little bit weaker, and my forearms were really strong. So there was an imbalance there. And so I know that my bicep was a little bit weaker. So I've been kind of like evening everything out. But more than anything, I've been doing a lot of foam rolling and also giving a break. When it comes to epicondylitis, you have to give your body a break. You have to rest those muscles and not put a lot of load. So, for example, my flexors and my extensors. A lot of times your extensors, right? These muscles on the top, they get too weak, and your flexors get too strong. So you wanna make sure that you work on that by doing start working that wrist to strengthen it. But I've been doing all I did was take a nice break from going heavy on any lifting, like Olympic lifting and powerlifting. So it's been 2 months, and I just noticed that pain is completely gone. But one of the things you want to do is you want to release the tricep. So same thing with the foam roller. You want to go here and then put it right on the edge of the foam roller. I like to grab the back of my neck, and then I just start looking for spots. I foam roll, right? I move, and I find spots throughout the entire tricep. And then, right, getting the medial and the lateral heads. So right there, I'm getting the lateral. So I'm moving around, finding spots that are all right there. You see, I have a lot of tension there, and that right there can cause a lot of pain on the elbows. One thing I also like to do is to get a better stretch. I'll put my head on my arm, on the radius or the ulna, right? And then I'll just put pressure, and I'll get a better stretch. Right? I can also put the edge of my elbow on the foam roller. I'll turn to the side, and I'll let my body fall, and that's gonna stretch out the long head on my tricep. And if I want to get the lateral heads at the same time, I go behind my neck and I push my wrist down, and I get a better stretch. And what you're gonna notice that little by little, the more you do that, and then you also stretch out stretch out your wrist, and you can increase the range of motion on your wrist. So you go here, you grab the floor with your wrist, and you lean forward on all fours, keeping those arms locked. Remember, it's all about having that arm locked and straight to create that stacking effect. And you stretch out your forearms, stretch out the digit flexors. This will hurt a lot of you so much. When I first started doing this stretch right here like this, there was no way I could do what I'm doing right now. I mean, it was painful. When I talk about painful, it was like extreme pain. Now I'm able to, now that I got it better, I can even get myself into a push-up position, all right? But not too long ago, 2 months ago, there was absolutely 4 months ago, there was no way I could do that. And so stretching out your wrists, I say here side to side. The idea is to keep your arms locked and move into position. So when you do a static stretching, you're gonna hold, right? You're gonna hold this stretch right here, and you're gonna hold that for 20, 30 seconds, maybe even 40 seconds. Go to the other side, 20, 40 seconds. When you're doing dynamic stretching, you're going side to side. So you can do all the same stretches side to side, right? So let's say, for example, the hamstring stretch right here. Keep your chest up, and you're gonna feel the stretch. The more you can keep your chest up, you're gonna feel the stretch on the hamstrings. So this would be static stretching when you're holding it, right? And you're holding the stretch. You don't want to be like this, super round. So if you don't have a good spinal flexion, so you have to work on that too. But just keep everything straight and just reach, right? And then dynamics again. Static stretching, you're gonna hold it for 45 seconds, whatever. But for static stretching, for dynamic stretching, you will do like kind of like a right here, like this, right? That's gonna be more dynamic stretching. So in movement, so you can do the exact same exercises for stretching that you do statically. Dynamically, it's just with dynamic, you're gonna do it in movement. So same thing with, like, let's say for example, stretching out the chest. I can go here, I can stretch out my chest by going across like this, and if I hold it, right, that's static stretching. This is static stretching. Now, if I want to do dynamic stretching, I'm going to go side to side. All right. So, same thing for the lats. If I want to do static stretching, I'll go across and I'll hold it for 20, 30 seconds. Right here. And change the angles. Even this stretch, you can change the angles. I can go straight across. I can go to a downward angle. I can go to an upper angle to get different areas. Now, if I want to do dynamic stretching, I can do like right here, or over and under, right? That's more of like a dynamic stretch, dynamic movement warm up. Again, so if you guys want to warm up with me, so so in conclusion, right? Just follow all those exercises, follow those tips. The foam rolling with the stretch will be like a pre-warm up. Dynamic stretching will be a pre-warm up, and then you go into your warm up, and that's gonna allow you to just move freely and increase your range of motion. And remember, when you're warm up with a purpose. So let's say, for example, you're doing arm circles. I want you to open up your arms, retract those shoulder blades, and do the arm circles and maintain that retraction to get the best possible warm up. And all my workouts on YouTube Live, I start with a pre-warm up, which is dynamic stretching. So you might want to join that so you can get the hang of dynamic stretching. You can see all the muscles that I stretch, because I go through other muscles, other exercises. So I highly suggest that you join me on those workouts. And that's about it. So that's the end of this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it and find value. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and join me on the next YouTube Live workout.